Welcome to the beautiful country of Uzbekistan. In today's video, we're gonna embark on a journey together through this Central Asian country. Uzbekistan is a land of deserts, ancient cities, and history that stretches back thousands of years. At its heart lies Samarkand, a city thought to be nearly 3,000 years old. Once a vital stop on the ancient Silk Road, it drew merchants from Europe, the Middle East, and far off China. This is where my journey begins. From Samarkand, I board one of Uzbekistan's high-speed trains and travel west, crossing wide empty plains to reach Bukhara, an ancient oasis filled with some of the most beautiful buildings I've ever seen. I'm here in Shah-i-Zinda, an ancient mausoleum complex, a necropolis, so basically I guess we could call it a graveyard. And I want to tell you guys, I'm not a historian. I'm usually much better in Soviet history than Islamic history, so I'd say we're just gonna explore the vibes of this mausoleum complex. So if you guys are interested in all the details and all the names and dates and all that sort of stuff, I think there are more interesting documentaries out there. But I am just very interested in exploring the vibes of this very, very ancient city. And let's go, let's head in there. So, according to legend, some cousin of the Prophet Muhammad is supposed to be buried somewhere here in one of these mausoleums. Locals believe that he is actually still alive and he lives somewhere here in a chamber. I'm not sure if that's true. This is basically the first time I'm really exposed to this Islamic architecture. And it's absolutely beautiful, and I think Samarkand here in Uzbekistan is one of the prime examples, like one of the best preserved Islamic art and architecture can be found here in this city. This architecture is definitely like something else. It's really, really impressive. Just thinking about the fact that all of this around here, this is one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world. And this is just like absolutely crazy to think how old this is. Like, who walked these pathways before me? That's just incredible to think about. Let's have a look into here. So this is Usto Ali Nesefi Mausoleum. I have no idea who that dude is. But I guess that's where his remains are buried. Wow, look at the ceiling, at the walls. That is really beautiful. I really like all these blue colors. So of course a lot of that stuff had to be restored over time. And very interestingly, it's actually been the Soviets that restored a lot of these blue domes and all of this like mosaic-like tiles. I mean, Soviets know how to make mosaic, so I think it's not that hard for them restoring that stuff because it's also made with these like small kind of tiles. Like you can see that here, it's all these like small tiles put together with paintings here and beautiful art. It's just absolutely beautiful. When Uzbekistan was part of the Soviet Union, and I think we can all see the Soviet influences here in these roads that we are walking right now. I mean, this looks like really Soviet here, not very Islamic anymore. But during Uzbek SSR times, this was actually the capital. Samarkand was the capital for a short time. I think from like 1920s to 1930s. And then the capital of Uzbekistan was moved to Tashkent. And that's also then the time when the Soviets made all these renovations to preserve the Islamic architecture. Though it's very important to not forget that religion was heavily suppressed during Soviet times. And yeah, so people were not really allowed to pray in the mosques and stuff. The Soviets just preserved the architecture because it was a cultural heritage. And here we have it. This is another mausoleum. So this here is the mausoleum of a guy called Bibi. I do not really know who that is, but let's appreciate the architecture. That's actually really beautiful with the sun going down behind there. And I think the evening time is also the best time to visit because we have August and it does get pretty hot during the day. We have around 37 degrees during the day. So now the evening time it's definitely much nicer. Look how impressive that is. Samarkand used to be a very important trading point along the ancient Silk Road, and a lot of merchants came through here on their way over to China and into Persia. And that's really cool. You see all the children playing soccer down there, right in front of the ancient mausoleum. This city, Samarkand, was also an astronomical hub. In the 15th century, there was a huge observatory here, and it was really advanced for the time back then. I think here we're at the Registan Square, or at the backside of the square. Let's head down there and have a look. Wow, it already looks really beautiful with the colors changing up there. Let's hurry so that we're not gonna miss the sunset. I'm not exactly sure if this is the entrance here. I feel like it almost seems a little bit too quiet to be the main entrance. Oh wow, look at this. This is huge. This is absolutely gorgeous. That's definitely a beautiful place to take your photos down there. Wow, look at this. Wow, that is impressive. Registan Square actually translates to sandy place, as far as I know. Because back in the day, this all used to be not paved, but very sandy. And since Uzbekistan is pretty dry, I can imagine that it would have gotten pretty sandy. Also, you can see how the towers here and here are almost bent and not straight. So it definitely takes a lot of effort to keep all of that intact and preserve it. There are 3 buildings here at the Registan Square. The big building in the middle down here is the Tilya Kori Madrasa, a residential college that also housed a grand masjid or mosque. And all of these Madrasahs also had classrooms but also living quarters for the students, which probably were all male back in the day because I can't imagine that it was allowed for a woman to pursue studies. Well, it's getting really busy here now. Everyone wants to see the sunset. Let's have a look down here. The building on the right is the Sherdor Madrasa, a prestigious university for Islamic sciences, philosophy and theology. It was finished in the 17th century. And this Madrasa is very famous for its tiger and sun mosaics that you can see in the front. On the left sits the iconic Uzbek Madrasa, the oldest of the 3 buildings, dating back to 1420. Back then, it was one of the best universities for training to become a religious leader in the whole Muslim Orient. Good morning, guys, to Samarkand. I'm in a taxi on my way to the train station because today we're gonna take the Uzbek high-speed train from Samarkand to Bukhara. I'm running only a little bit late, so let's hope we're not gonna miss the train, because otherwise I'm not really sure how we're gonna get to Bukhara. So we have 5 minutes and now I'm at the train station, so let's run. Because if we miss this train, the only other option I think to get there is by car or by bus, which would take like 5 hours or 6, I'm not sure. It's far.
Here entrance, miss.
Okay, we are not allowed to go in there, so now we have to run. Oh my god. That's a nice station. Very, very nice toilets there, but we do not have time to look around here. We really have to go. Oh my god! I hate this! I hate this so much! Unfortunately, this is not Germany, where trains are usually at least 30 minutes late. I think here, trains leave on time. Спасибо. Oh my god, we made it. We're on the train. That was very last minute. We're already leaving, driving out of the station. And now we're gonna have 2 or 2.5 hours on the train here on Uzbekistan's high-speed railway. Uzbekistan is a really dry country. The further west you go, the drier it gets. And look at this, look at my skin here on my fingers. My fingers are actually peeling because the climate here is just so dry and all my skin loses its moisture, like my face gets so dry. I've never had my fingers peeling like this. And we're here. Welcome to Bukhara. This was the end station of the train, I think, because everyone got out here. And now let's head out and let's try to find a taxi. I feel like it looks so dusty here already. It was so dry outside of the city. This is a lot of people here. I did not expect that. We finally arrived to Bukhara Old Town. It was about a 30-minute drive from the train station, and now we're here. And look at this. This is a complete contrast to Samarkand. This looks like much older. But before we're gonna explore the city, we're gonna have some lunch and hopefully we can find some vegetarian Uzbek food. This is really cool. Look at this, guys. I'm just walking here on this quiet side street and there's so many old buildings around. Wow, you can see this similar architecture that we saw in Samarkand. Really excited to explore all of this. This is really nice. So I went for some Uzbek lasagna right here. It's like lasagna sheets, like noodles cooked in like a tomatoey sauce with vegetables. I call it Uzbek lasagna, but the official name is beshbamak. And I've tried it a couple of times already. It usually comes with meat, this one is vegetarian. It always looks a little bit different, so cheers. I love the fact that they put coriander here. And of course some tea. Cheers. So to be honest with you, the food was so. I had much better Uzbek lasagnas before. I think it's just a really touristy place here in the middle of Bukhara. And it's also the middle of the day, it's still pretty hot, so I'd say we're gonna head back to the hotel first and wait a little bit until it's later in the day and it's gonna cool down a little bit and it's gonna be much nicer to go around and explore because this heat is really bad, especially with all the concrete. Good morning to a new day here in Bukhara. I actually changed my plan and decided not to explore the city yesterday, but today in the morning because this is such a dry and hot climate here. It really does not cool down until the sun has set. So I decided it's the best to explore the city together with you now in the morning. I'm here in the courtyard of my hotel. I made a really good choice. I'm really happy about this accommodation. And the temperatures are really nice, so much better than yesterday. So I'd say let's go and let's check out Bukhara Old Town. We're back here in the Old Town. And this city, Bukhara, is a little bit newer than Samarkand. It is only about 2000 years old, but as you can see, it does look much older because more of these old buildings all around here are preserved. And right here we already have like two huge Islamic buildings, so let's have a look. These two buildings, this one here and this one here on the other side, these are Madrasahs as far as I know. So schools where they used to educate science and theology and law and different things. Wow, it's really windy here. It's really windy here. But the nice thing here in Bukhara is you're just walking through the ancient city and you just see these incredibly impressive buildings here at the side of the road, or also here on the other side. There's another one. They're just here. You don't need to go through gates and through entrances and pay entrance tickets like in Samarkand. No, you're like really immersed in this ancient architecture. It's so beautiful. We see all of these ancient domes over there. So these were often used as like kind of like campgrounds for the caravans coming through, where the traders could rest and sleep and trade their spices and stuff. It's just really impressive how close you can get to all this beautiful architecture here. And it's just like at the side of the road. This is so different already to Samarkand, but it is so cool. It's such a cool vibe. Like, you really feel like you're walking through an ancient town along the ancient Silk Road. It really doesn't feel like Samarkand. In Samarkand, you just go to these couple of big and very impressive sites like the Registan Square and some of the sites that we visited. But once you leave the site, you very much feel like you're in an old Soviet city. There's not much vibe otherwise in Samarkand. It is very different here in Bukhara. We have all these market stalls, we have all of these like bazaar-like structures where you can go inside. A lot of vendors here are selling carpets, which definitely adds to this vibe. Not all the vendors are open yet. A lot of stuff is still closed, I think, though the temperatures are just really nice for exploring right now. This here is an ancient trading dome. So back in the day, merchants would have come here to trade their stuff, to trade spices and silk and clothes, and especially hats. From what I know, this here was popular for trading hats. And even nowadays, you can buy different things here, like carpets and also like ceramics. They have a lot of these like genie lamps here, so if you rub that one down here, you probably get a genie. And over there on the other building you can see more people selling carpets. From what I know, Bukhara is very famous for their carpets, though nowadays a lot of those carpets are actually manufactured in Turkmenistan, the neighboring country. There is a lot of construction going on down here right now. Wow, they are changing a lot of stuff here. That's interesting. So that one, this old ancient dome-like structure, definitely looks like they've refurbished it. And here, I'm not exactly sure what they're doing down here, but there's so much construction going on everywhere here. I wonder if there's so much construction going on because Uzbekistan is actually trying to push the tourism. Whoa, this is absolutely beautiful. This here is another madrasa, so another school. And it makes sense that there were so many of these schools, these madrasas here in Bukhara, because it was the capital of multiple dynasties. And these madrasas didn't only serve as educational centers, but also were very important political wise. And Bukhara was located along the ancient Silk Road. It was a very important hub. People from Central Asia, from Persia, from China, they all came through here, and that's why we have so many of these madrasas here. And I think this one here is especially beautiful. We see up here the mosaic of birds, which is very interesting because in a lot of Islamic countries, Islam is interpreted in a way that it is actually forbidden to portray Allah or His creation, because Allah, God, made the birds, the animals, the plants so perfect, no human being could ever portray it better than Allah, and that is why it is forbidden in a lot of Islamic countries to portray any animals, any plants, any living beings. That's why we have so much of these geometrical figures everywhere, these patterns in the art. But here in this area in Central Asia, the Islam is interpreted a little bit differently, and it is actually okay to portray these animals. That's why we have these birds up here, and that's why also in Samarkand, in the Registan Square, we had tigers in the madrasa, in the mosaic of the madrasa. Let's have a look inside the courtyard and see what's in there today. This is just so beautiful in here. I really can't believe how nice this is. And you can really immerse yourself here in Bukhara. You can really imagine what the city could have been like hundreds of years ago, when all these merchants from all over the region came through here with their silk and their spices. This is really, really impressive here. So this here is another madrasa, and all of these madrasas here taught Islamic science back in the day. Also like mathematics, astronomy, and philosophy. Nowadays you can buy souvenirs here. Wow, this is beautiful. Look at the ceiling. There's a courtyard over here. Let's have a look into the courtyard. Wow. Beautiful. So all here around back in the day, there would have been classrooms and also living quarters for the students. This is really, really impressive. Just walking here and knowing how ancient all of this is. This one here is really interesting because you see over there the mosaics are coming off. Also in here the mosaics are coming off. So this one isn't as well restored as the other ones that we saw outside. Though I personally think this is really interesting that we can see the contrast here, like how the madrasas would look like if they wouldn't be refurbished. Up here on a lot of these things there's no mosaics left anymore at all. The wind has picked up a little bit and it is really, really dusty. Dust is flying around in the air and I can't even really open my eyes. There's also a lot of construction going on up here. So it does seem like they are pretty much remodeling the whole old city center to make it more suitable for tourism and attract more tourists, because this is a very, very big goal of Uzbekistan right now, to push the tourism because it brings a lot of money. Lots of the roads in the old town are blocked off right now because of all the construction that's going on. That's why we're gonna take some of these side streets to go around there. I don't know if it's gonna work, but we're gonna try. And as you can see, even this residential roads here do not have a Soviet vibe at all. this feels really, really Central Asian. And this is very different, very, very different to Samarkand. And I honestly much prefer Bukhara so far. Navigating the city is not that easy right now because there's just so much construction work going on everywhere. But this gives me the chance to explore these more residential areas, and this is definitely really, really interesting. Wow guys, look at this over there. This is a really, really old building. And down here we have like some very ancient looking ruins. That's probably why this is all blocked off here behind this metal fence here behind me. But very interesting to have a little peek through the holes. Here as well wow, what's going on in here? I think they're gonna refurbish and rebuild all of this part in here to make it suitable for tourism, to make it safe, to preserve it. Because as you can see, some of these buildings up here are so old, they look so ancient. These are probably not really safe anymore. And here we have another madrasa that, as you can see, has not been refurbished for tourists. So all the mosaics are gone, all the doors are locked off down there, and you can see the bricks down here are a little bit falling apart. I personally think this is really, really interesting that we also have some ancient buildings here that have not been refurbished. Because I think this just gives such a much better impression of what all of these buildings would look like if they wouldn't preserve them. So here you can see this one dates back to 1796. The 18th century, so it's not even that old, but if you don't refurbish it, that's what it's gonna look like. This is where I wanted to go, the Kalyan Minaret. Back in the day, this tower was used to throw criminals off, so they would throw the criminals off the top of the tower to, punish them for their crimes. And there seems to be a beautiful square over there, so let's head down and have a look behind the tower, right over there. So this madrasa here is undergoing renovations right now. As you can see, there's a big scaffolding up. Here on the other side we have this beautiful mosque, and you can see all the writing up here, the Arabic writing. This is the Shahara, which says there's no God besides Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. If you recite that in Arabic, you convert to Islam. So that's why you only get the English version from me here. I'm not gonna recite it in Arabic because I'm serving that one for my deathbed. This was a very, very interesting day here in Bukhara. I really, really enjoy the city. It just feels so much more authentic and ancient to me than Samarkand. Even though Samarkand is much older, it is not as well preserved as Bukhara is. And this was a great journey through Uzbekistan. I'm gonna head back to the capital Tashkent tomorrow, from where I have a flight to a new country. I'm gonna go to Georgia. So we're gonna stay in the ex-USSR and we're gonna explore Georgia together, and I hope you're gonna join me on that adventures. Until next time, bye bye.